So, from where to start the geopolitics today? Yeah, I'll start with Iran. If you want to understand geopolitics, from where should you start? Of course, either from the globe or from the map. So, what is happening in Iran? What is going to happen in time to come? And what India should watch from the current developments in Iran? It all has to begin by understanding Iran's geography, Iran's topography, Iran's history, and Iran's culture. Why Iran matters to India? Iran not only matters to India, Iran matters to the world because it is a very important piece in the global chessboard of geopolitics. Again, look at Iran, you understand what is going on in Iran. So I'll go to my old ABC of the global geopolitics since the end of Second World War. So the end of Second World War is about US hegemony. And the fundamentals of US hegemony are to prevent the rise of Eurasian power. Among the prominent geopolitical scholars, if Alfred T. Mahan talks about controlling the oceans, then Iran matters because of its location adjacent to the Gulf of Oman and the Persian Gulf, and then, of course, the Arabian Sea. And again, if I talk about Spikeman as well as Mackinder, so what Mackinder says that the future will be in the hands of the continental power, and Spikeman has modified the ideas. And Spikeman says that more than the continental power, what matters is the rimland state. So, what is Iran? Iran is a rimland state. So, rimland state means a state which is amphibious, which combines the characteristics of a sea power as well as the continental power. But Iran is more than that. Iran is the first superpower in the world, says Robert B. Kaplan. And what else is Iran? Iran is a civilizational state. Before becoming the nation state, somewhere in late 30s, Iran has been a civilizational state and used to be known as Persia. The influence of Persian Empire has been far and wide. And do you know from where the strength of Iran comes? The strength of Iran comes from its topography. So, from the perspective of topography, Iran is a natural fort. On one side is a Zagros Mountains. On the other side, there are deserts. And Iran is protected from all sides by the topographical features of the deserts as well as the mountains. Even Iran's coastline give it huge advantage. And that is why it is very difficult for any external agent to commit an act of aggression in Iran. Besides that, one of the oldest civilization and continuing civilization, and that is why it has wisdom of ages. Iran is known for its art, for its architecture, for its poets, for its scientists. So, a grand state and a rimland state, if not the biggest challenger, but definitely the regional challenger to US hegemony in world's most important region, and that is Middle East. Iran is a corridor which connects South Asia, Central Asia, Caucasus region, and West Asia besides the sea routes. So why not the major powers will be having an eye on Iran? So if Iran has advantages of geography, Iran also pays for the revenge of geography. Because of its location, major powers want to have control over Iran. And of course, I need not to tell it, one of the leading sources of oil and the natural gas, besides other important minerals and resources. On one side is Caspian Sea, and on other side is the Persian Gulf. So if you want to read Iran and understand Iran, understand the present developments, then give some time to map, give some time to glow, because events will keep on happening. You should be able to deconstruct the underlying currents. And yes, we have to understand that in the current chessboard, who are the important players? What are their strategic calculus? So, the first comes USA, which wants Iran at any cost. You should be knowing about 1980 Carter Doctrine after the Islamic Revolution in Iran, when USA held that Persian Gulf is the core national interest of USA and which USA will protect even by armed or the military action. So, the Trump's doctrine should also be seen in continuity with the Carter's statement. Because of its oil, because of its location, it has a huge importance from the perspective of world trade and connectivity. And therefore, USA would like that whosoever is ruling Iran should be not anti-West, it should be pro-West and pro-USA. And pro-USA in Middle East means pro-Israel. And the current regime of Iran creates the existential threat to Israel. So, what is Iran? Iran is also the symbol of resistance to the Western imperialism. Now, among the other stakeholders which have made the huge advance in recent time in consolidating their relations with Iran is China. And therefore, the current tensions, be it in Iran or in Venezuela, have to take into consideration the war of hegemony between the new revisionist power and the old status quoist power, that is between China and US. And you must be knowing that Iran is a very important link in BRI. Long time ago, Samuel P. Huntington has warned the American policymakers that they should ensure China and Islamic world should not come together. They should not form the axis. And Islamic threat in itself is not such a big concern until and unless they come together. And maybe to balance this in the strategic calculus of USA. Russia and Iran both have interest in the oil trade. They would like the prices high, but it goes against the interest of USA. Let me begin with the recent history of Iran. So first of all, US played the role in installing Reza Shah Pahlavis, or US played the role in installing the regime of Pahlavis. And you may find it interesting that Pahlavi, the first king, Reza Shah Pahlavi, was a very ordinary officer in the army. He's not hereditary king, or he doesn't come from the family of royalty, but actually he has been installed by the Western countries. Iran has seen its days of democracy when Iran's socialist leader Mohammad Mossadegh became the prime minister of Iran. And it was the time of Cold War. And US interpreted it as the strategic victory of USSR. So US did everything to topple the government and reinstate the Pahlavis. Now, under Reza Shah Pahlavi and the Pahlavi regime, Iran has seen its westernization, its modernization at its extreme, which was not liked by the religious section of clerics in Iran, and they went out of the country to protect themselves. And the situations started developing in a way that in 1979 there was a revolution in Iran. So 1979 is a very important year in global geopolitics. So if USA has opened another front against USSR in Afghanistan, USSR has opened the front against USA in Iran. And what happened? The pro-American government was toppled and the Islamists came to power. And since then begins a new game. You understand that in Middle East, everybody uses one issue, and that is the Palestinian issue. If you want to gain the legitimacy of your regime, start rallying for Palestinian cause. And this is what the clerics regime did. Despite being Shias and Middle East dominated by Sunnis, even Palestinians are Sunnis. Iran started projecting itself as the leader of the Muslim world. Iranian regime under Ayatollahs did not accept the existence of Israel. Iranian clerical regime, to maintain its legitimacy, maintains this position that it will not accept the existence of Israel. And at the same time, if we see that until and unless this regime does not go, USA's Western Quad, USA's led initiatives like IMEC may not see the light of the day. And on the other hand, it is a huge opportunity for expansion of BRI. Hence, what is the ultimate objective of USA? The collapse of the regime. And what exactly they are doing? They are doing the same. I must tell you that Iran's geography prevents any external player to commit the act of aggression. And therefore, the only feasible way to end the regime in Iran or to bring regime change is by provoking internal dissent, internal unrest. And this is what I call as the hybrid warfare, the warfare of the new age. We have to see how the social media the information warfare, the war of narratives, can destabilize even the most totalitarian regimes in the world. Do you understand why I have specifically used this word totalitarian? Do you know what is specific about totalitarian regimes? Two things. They are grounded in ideology. And the second thing is, in comparison to the military, they have very strong internal secret police because the enemies of the regime are within the country. And Iran, because of the lineage of the westernization and modernization, does have those sections whose interest have been impacted with the Islamization. So there are lobbies, there are groups which do have interest in the toppling of the regime. Today, Islamic regime's future, I feel, we can count on fingers because it is difficult to now manage the internal dissent which has reached to such level thanks to the information warfare and the media management. For any serious student of geopolitics, you have to start take into account the role which media has come to play in the present wars. One interesting thing I want to tell you that immediately when Cold War ended, we see the war in Iraq, and then again in 2003 US invasion in Iraq, because Iraq is a place from where this fort can be pierced. US forces have been present in Iraq. The purpose was not Iraq, but to target Iran. So let us see how things develop. But again, India needs to be cautious because West Asia comes under India's second concentric circle. And if there had been no partition, Iran would have been our next door neighbor. And the tensions in Iran will make West Asia more dangerous, more fragmented. India has a lot of stakes in West Asia, and maybe it will create an additional pressure on India's look west policy. So, what do you think about the possible repercussions of the rupture which we are going to see in Iran for India's external security, internal security, energy security, security of our diaspora, and our wider interests in Global South? Do let us know.